Hi, we are here with Hassan Jana, Deputy Minister of Data and Decision. Saudi
Pleasure to meet you, Arab.
Pleasure to meet you, sir.
Welcome to Saudi.
Thank you, sir. We are here at UMTA Tourism Assembly Summit and here in Riyadh. When we talk about the sustainable tourism growth, what we do mean exactly how the global tourism community is addressing about it.
So when we speak about sustainability in tourism, we're talking about making sure that tourism grows sustainably, not just grows fast. So while in the past we've been focusing a lot on economic growth, there are other elements of growth that must be addressed in order to ensure that we have a sustainable sector for the future. We're looking at elements related to the economy, social aspects, governance aspects, and environmental aspects. Together, by addressing all of these aspects, we ensure that our tourism sector grows in a way that is responsible to the people, responsible to the economies, and responsible to the environment.
And what message you bring to UMTA 2025 about the role of data sustainable tourism growth post-pandemic?
You can't improve what you can't measure. And in order for us to track what's happening in the growth of tourism from a sustainable point of view, we must be able to measure where we stand today so we can put the right plans, the right policies in place to ensure that tourism grows sustainably. So in order to have a data-driven policy-making process, we must have the right metrics, the right measurement, the right data in order to ensure that our policymakers and decision makers have all the right facts in a timely manner so they can make the right decisions to ensure that our sector grows in sustainable.
What are the opportunities identified when it comes to data? How are you addressing them to support the Saudi Arabia in the global tourism arena?
When the MST, or Statistical Framework for Measuring Sustainable Tourism, was proposed, Saudi Arabia was one of the first countries to work very closely with the UN Tourism Statistical Committee and also with other member states in order to develop the statistical framework and push for it to get approved by the UN Statistical Commission. Once that was approved, Saudi Arabia was one of the leading countries to take that framework and start to develop a more detailed technical implementation of that framework based on our national priorities. And in collaboration with the whole of government approach, we collaborate heavily with a lot of institutes and a lot of organizations within the government of Saudi Arabia in order to ensure that we have the right measurement, we get the right data, we get the right level of detail in that data, so we can measure the different indicators related to measuring sustainable tourism in the right way and then provide that to the policymakers. And yesterday, during our discussions within the Statistical Committee of UN Tourism, there was a lot of discussion around the different implementations different countries are taking in terms of translating the SFMSD into something that is implementable on the ground. And Saudi Arabia is one of the pioneers globally in taking that initiative and ensuring that we carry on the work of the development of SFMSD and making it a real thing.
Great work, sir. How your team is leveraging new data sources like mobile booking data, shaped up Saudi Arabia tourism strategy for under Vision 2030?
Saudi Arabia is one of the pioneers in combining traditional statistical methods of gathering data for tourism with emerging new data sets and unconventional data sources, including mobile position data. We combine all of these data sources together using advanced techniques, statistical techniques, and also AI in order to produce more accurate, more timely, and more granular data around the different indicators that measure the performance of tourism, including some of the indicators that relate to measuring sustainable tourism, in order to provide our leadership with the right data in a timely manner so we can make the decisions that will ensure our sector grows. And lately, OECD published a paper commending the different effort that Saudi Arabia has taken in order to infuse the system for national statistics and tourism with these unconventional data methods and techniques.
What aspects of tourism growth are not measured accurately in the past, and why did it lead to incomplete understanding of the industry growth?
In the past, there was a lot of focus on measuring the economic impact of tourism, things like GDP, etc. However, especially after the pandemic, there emerged a real need to measure other aspects of tourism. First, to convey the true impact tourism has on society and on the environment, and also to put in place the right policies that will ensure that we grow this sector in a way that is sustainable. There are several challenges many countries face, whether they're social or environmental, and in order for us to address those challenges, we must understand the current state with the right data and the right indicators so we can put in the right actions to ensure they sustain.
What is the international statistical framework for measuring the sustainability of tourism, SFMST? Why it is important?
This is the first global framework that was agreed and approved by the UN Statistical Commission that provides a set of indicators and guidelines on how to measure the sustainability of the tourism sector. It's a game changer in terms of measuring how tourism grows in a sustainable way, and it provides a way for us to have comparable data across country for benchmarking and for learning from the different lessons and the different actions different countries take to address issues related to sustainability.
What role did Saudi Arabia play in developing the SFMST?
From day one, Saudi Arabia has been an active participant in the development of the framework and also pushing for that framework to get endorsed by the UN Statistical Commission. Today, Saudi Arabia is the co-chair of the UN Tourism Statistical Committee with our colleagues in Austria, and in our conversations during the UN General Assembly here in Riyadh, we had many conversations about what different countries are doing with SFMST and the different implementations that are happening around the world, and also how we can continue the work related to the further development and implementation of SFMST, and Saudi Arabia is among the pioneers globally in that area.
How Saudi Arabia emerged as a global model for implementing the new framework? Could you elaborate the Saudi model to explain how it served the inspiration for the other country MST?
Tourism as a sector is a horizontal sector that interacts with many of the economic sectors within every economy. In order for us to measure the different indicators in the statistical framework for measuring sustainable tourism, we need to work with the whole of government, working with our partners in different line ministries and organizations in order for us to define what metrics need to be measured, how are they going to be measured, and have the right data flows and data exchange for us to measure those indicators. We work very closely with the General Bureau of Statistics, with the Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Environment, Water and Agriculture, and others to ensure that we have the right data at the right time, at the right level of detail, so we can measure these different indicators that we have developed. We took the SFMST and we developed our own set of 30 national indicators that measure sustainability in tourism, and we're working also on aligning them with the Sustainable Development Goals from the UN.
It's a great role of Saudi Arabia to make the tourism joining in MST framework. As Saudi Arabia continue to lead the discussion implementation of MST, what message do you want to give global tourism leader to take from here?
First, tourism is a holistic approach and a national priority. For tourism to grow in any economy, it requires the collaboration of the entire economy to grow the sector. On the data aspect, if you want to measure properly the impact of tourism along the different dimensions within MST, social, environmental, economic, and governance, you need a whole of government approach to ensure that you have the right data exchange, the right dialogue, and then the right cohesive and comprehensive policies that ensures the sustainable development.
The last question, during UNCTAD, we know that it has been announced that Saudi Arabia achieved #1 ranking in the number of tourism programs and institutions accredited by UN Tourism TED 12 in 2025. What does this mean for the tourism sector?
Tourism is about people. And in Saudi Arabia, we are committed to developing our destinations, but we also committed to developing the people that bring those destinations to life. At the end of the day, what you go back and you remember after you leave a country is your interactions with the people in those countries. And in our time here within the UN General Assembly, the number one comment we keep hearing is people are wowed by the Saudi hospitality, which means that our Saudis and developing our Saudis is a competitive advantage for the country. The recent recognition by UN Tourism of Saudi Arabia as the fastest growing country in terms of the number of TEDQual accreditations over the past 2 years is just a testament to our continuous commitment to developing our tourism sector labor force and our Saudi talent in the best global standards possible so they can convey professionally the true essence of Saudi hospitality.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for spending time.
Thank you very
Nice
much
to
for
talk to
coming.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for inviting me.